In drought-hit northern Iraq, a significant archaeological discovery
on the mysterious ancient handbag, which are presented in
across the blistering deserts surrounding ancient Uruk, a discovery emerged that defied centuries of scholarly skepticism. For generations, archaeologists believed that the mysterious handbag symbol seen in Sumerian and Assyrian carvings was nothing more than stylized art, a symbolic motif, perhaps ceremonial, perhaps religious, but never meant to be taken literally. Yet the sands had been hiding a truth far stranger than the myths. Buried beneath layers of forgotten soil, researchers uncovered an actual stone artifact, meticulously carved, perfectly shaped, and unmistakably identical to the iconic handbags held by gods in Mesopotamian reliefs. Long dismissed as allegorical objects, they were suddenly revealed to be real, physical creations. Covered with geometric engravings and markings resembling proto-writing, the stone bag ignited a flurry of excitement. It seemed less like a relic and more like a deliberate time capsule, one intentionally crafted to protect knowledge across the ages. This revelation would lead to the re-evaluation of entire chapters of human history and raise the question that archaeologists had never dared to ask seriously: what ancient wisdom did humanity once possess that has vanished from recorded memory? The scorching sun hung mercilessly above the Iraqi desert, casting wavering heat mirages over the excavation near ancient Uruk. For weeks, the archaeological team had uncovered little more than routine pottery fragments and shattered clay tablets, valuable, yes, but hardly groundbreaking. Spirits were beginning to waver, and conversations grew shorter, punctuated by the dull scraping of tools against the sand. Mike Adams, a young archaeology assistant from Oregon, had been working tirelessly along a deep trench. He expected nothing extraordinary. Most of his digs involved typical Mesopotamian debris, shards, bones, and the occasional tablet fragment. But late one afternoon, the rhythm of his shovel abruptly changed. Instead of sinking into the ground, it struck something solid, something that vibrated through the metal handle and into Mike's bones. He froze. Kneeling in the sand, he brushed the area gently with his fingertips. A smooth surface emerged, a rectangular stone object unlike any he had seen before. As he cleared the dirt away, its form became unmistakably clear, a carved stone rectangle with a curved, handle-like top. His breath caught in his throat. "Dr. Knifer," he whispered, unable to look away. The craftsmanship was extraordinary. Even under layers of dust, the stone seemed oddly luminous, its surface decorated with spirals, tessellations, and razor-precise geometric patterns that appeared too refined for its suspected age. It radiated a quiet brilliance, as though time itself had failed to dull the mastery behind its creation. Dr. Asha Knifer, the lead archaeologist, hurried over, brushing the last grains of sand away. Her eyes widened, her expression shifting from interest to open shock. "It's impossible," she murmured. "Mike, do you understand what you found? This looks exactly like the handbag carvings." For decades, these mysterious handbags carved in the hands of gods, winged beings, and royal figures had baffled researchers. Some called them ritual buckets or symbolic containers, while others dismissed them as stylized artistic motifs. Yet none had ever been found in physical form, until now. With trembling hands, Mike lifted the heavy stone artifact. In that moment, neither he nor Dr. Knifer understood that they were holding a discovery that would alter the narrative of ancient civilization. The entire dig transformed from a routine excavation into a historical turning point. Long-held assumptions about Mesopotamian symbolism began to crumble, and new questions erupted in their place. If this object truly matched the images in ancient reliefs, then those carvings were not mere art, they were documentation. The real investigation had only just begun. The handbag symbol was far from an isolated artistic quirk. It appeared across countless Mesopotamian reliefs, from Akkadian temples to Assyrian palaces. Winged Apkala figures, divine guardians entrusted with sacred knowledge, were frequently depicted holding these exact shapes. Rulers, gods, and mythological beings alike carried the symbol with reverence, suggesting it possessed profound cultural significance. But what did it represent? Some scholars believe these bags contained sacred water, tools, or ritual seeds. Others speculated they represented cosmic knowledge. Their presence in Göbekli Tepe, dating back over 11,000 years, deepened the mystery. If the same symbol existed across such an immense span of time, it implied a cultural idea transmitted through generations long before written history. Mike's discovery meant that the symbol had not been a metaphor. It was literal. The implications were staggering. The universal consistency of the handbag imagery suggested a shared understanding across vast regions and periods. It hinted at an object revered and preserved across civilizations. Perhaps it was not simply a container, but a message. A message so valuable that ancient societies encoded it in artwork, monuments, and myths. An object of power. A relic of teaching. A vessel of knowledge. And now, it was in their hands. This discovery brought renewed attention from scholars worldwide. Debates erupted overnight. Was it ceremonial? Technological? Symbolic? Something more? But with a physical artifact to examine, speculation gave way to scientific investigation. If this stone bag truly matched the divine symbols of ancient art, then humanity's oldest stories might contain more truth than myth. The next step, analyze the object itself. At first glance, the stone handbag appeared to be crafted from diorite, a material notoriously difficult to carve without advanced tools. But deeper analyses contradicted even that assumption. Portable X-ray fluorescence testing revealed an improbable mixture of silica and rare trace elements not found in the geology of Mesopotamia. Even more astonishing, the crystalline alignment inside the stone suggested it had been heated, cooled, and treated in ways not consistent with any known ancient techniques. The material was not merely shaped. It was engineered. The surface decorations told another story. The spirals, grids, and patterns followed complex mathematical ratios, golden spirals, tessellations, and geometric sequences that demonstrated sophisticated mathematical knowledge. Every motif seemed intentional, perhaps even functional. Linguists noted a band of symbols along the base. They resembled early cuneiform but did not match any catalogued inscriptions. This was older, more primitive, yet more precise. It hinted at a writing system predating the earliest known tablets. The handbag seemed almost technological, crafted with expertise that did not match its era. Even stranger, during spectral analysis, researchers detected faint resonances within the stone. It absorbed light instead of reflecting it, a property more akin to certain engineered composites than natural rock. This was no ordinary sculpture. It was a device. What did it contain? What was its purpose? And who created it? To answer these questions, a linguistic specialist was brought in, one of the few capable of deciphering ancient proto-scripts. Dr. Hassan al-Mahmoud, a legendary expert in early Mesopotamian languages, arrived at the site with decades of experience behind him. But even he was unprepared for what awaited him. When he first examined the inscriptions on the stone bag, he fell silent, running his fingers over the carved symbols with reverence. For nearly 5 minutes, he said nothing at all. This is older than anything I have ever seen," he finally whispered. Over the next several days, Dr. Hassan worked tirelessly, comparing the symbols to digital archives containing thousands of cuneiform variants. He eventually concluded that the carvings were a proto-writing system predating known Sumerian text by centuries, perhaps even a millennium. Remarkably, he translated roughly 70% of the inscription. According to the message, the artifact was associated with beings described not as gods, but as carriers of foundation, individuals who brought essential knowledge to early human societies. These were teachers, not deities. Guides, not rulers. The text also indicated that knowledge was stored within objects like the stone handbag, suggesting it was intentionally constructed to safeguard wisdom for distant generations. The more Dr. Hassan deciphered, the more convinced he became, the creators of this relic expected someone, someday, to find it. But the idea of opening such a sacred artifact sparked intense debate. Could it be damaged? Was it meant to be opened? Was the knowledge inside dangerous or fragile? Yet the inscription seemed clear, it was made to be accessed. The clues pointed to an internal mechanism, a sophisticated system embedded within the stone. The next stage would require advanced engineering, patience, and precision. Opening the stone handbag became one of the most delicate archaeological operations ever attempted. There were no seams, hinges, or lids visible on the surface, yet the sculpture was clearly hollow inside. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, a materials engineer, began scanning the object using laser mapping, X-ray imaging, and microvibration sensors. Slowly, a pattern emerged. The exterior geometric engravings were connected to pressure points. If pressed in the correct order, they could unlock the mechanism. This was ancient engineering on a level no one thought possible. A climate-controlled tent was built around the artifact. Cameras, sensors, thermal monitors, and spectrometers surrounded the stone bag as the team prepared to activate the pressure nodes. The world held its breath. One by one, microscopic pulses were applied. Each activation triggered a soft hum, a faint resonance moving through the stone. And then, after the final pressure point was triggered, a quiet click echoed through the tent. A slim, nearly invisible seam appeared across the top. The handle shifted gently upward, like a lid awakened after thousands of years. The handbag opened. Inside was a smooth, metallic interior surface, completely different from the stone exterior. Nestled within it were 7 cylindrical objects, each resting in a carved groove. Transparent. Iridescent. Otherworldly. No one had expected this. The cylinders shimmered with layered colors, their surfaces marked with symbols representing grains, stars, geometric shapes, and more, each correlating with the 7 domains described in the inscriptions. Spectrometers detected a stable energy field emanating from them. Whatever they were not simple relics. They were storage devices. Knowledge preserved at a molecular or quantum level. The world changed in that single moment. Once the cylinders were removed under controlled conditions, the team began documenting their every detail, photographing, scanning, and analyzing their composition. Their structure was unfamiliar, crystalline yet fused with synthetic elements no ancient civilization should have possessed. Inside the cylinders, microscopic patterns hinted at compressed information, layer upon layer of encoded data. It was the earliest evidence of advanced data storage known to humanity. A laboratory in Baghdad was established solely for analyzing these cylinders. Experts from around the world, linguists, physicists, chemists, engineers, arrived to study the unprecedented find. The first breakthrough came from the cylinder marked with grain symbols. Quantum imaging revealed agricultural techniques far beyond what early humans were believed capable of. These included crop rotation methods, hybridization strategies, irrigation calculations, and soil treatments that would not re-emerge until thousands of years later. The mathematics cylinder contained geometric theorems, astronomical charts, and planetary orbit models of astonishing accuracy, calculations modern science only achieved with advanced technology. The medicine cylinder revealed formulas for natural antibiotics, derived from plants and minerals. Incredibly, early tests on synthetic recreations showed one compound effective against antibiotic-resistant bacteria, a discovery that modern medicine desperately needed. The metallurgy cylinder described heat treatment processes used to strengthen metal, techniques that would not be rediscovered until the Iron Age. The language cylinder contained scripts that appeared to bridge proto-writing and early cuneiform, evidence that textual communication was part of a much older tradition. The architecture cylinder held plans for city layouts, structural stability techniques, and materials science principles far beyond early Mesopotamian norms. Together, the cylinders suggested that a highly advanced culture, or a guided group of elite teachers, once passed down essential knowledge to early civilizations. This discovery forced the world to reconsider everything. The encoded information in the cylinders revealed a world that was far more advanced than previously imagined. Agriculture was not a slow evolution, it was a refined science. Mathematics wasn't rudimentary, it was structured, deliberate, and far-reaching. Medicine was not guesswork, it was systematic. Humanity had lost knowledge before. But this revelation suggested it had lost a lot more than anyone realized. History wasn't a straight line of progress. It was a cycle of discovery, collapse, and rediscovery. Mike Adams, once an anonymous assistant, became the unlikely figure who triggered a rewriting of ancient history. The cylinders redefined the timeline of human achievement and revealed an age of brilliance forgotten beneath shifting sands. But even with all this knowledge decoded, one mystery remained. Who created these cylinders? And why were they buried in a stone handbag beneath Uruk? The stone handbag now stands as a symbol of humanity's forgotten brilliance. It represents knowledge preserved with intention, wisdom meant to survive cultural collapse, war, and the erosion of time. The public has been captivated, lining up at museums to glimpse the artifact that challenges everything we thought we knew. Researchers continue to analyze the cylinders, searching for deeper meaning, clues about their creators, and hints of other undiscovered time capsules buried beneath ancient landscapes. The 7 core principles encoded in the handbag: agriculture, mathematics, astronomy, metallurgy, language, medicine, and architecture, mirror the very foundations of civilization itself. The discovery raises profound new questions. Who were the teachers that created these knowledge vessels? What civilization birthed them? And how much of their legacy remains undiscovered beneath the earth? The handbag reminds us that history is not fixed. It evolves with every new discovery. And sometimes, one artifact can unravel an entire worldview. This is not just a relic. It is a bridge, connecting the distant past with the future yet to unfold. As Professor Harris unrolled the brittle parchment on the stone floor, the room felt heavier, almost as if the air itself understood the gravity of what was happening. Lines drawn in faded ink stretched across the page, forming a map unlike anything the team had ever seen. Ancient symbols bordered the edges, and right at the center was a sigil that Mira recognized instantly. It was identical to the symbol she saw glowing faintly on Raj's skin. The professor whispered, This is not a map of any known region on Earth." Raj felt a wave of dizziness again. The symbols seemed to pulse softly, reacting to his presence. Mira leaned in closer, her voice trembling. "But if it's not Earth, then what is it mapping?" No one answered. The silence was louder than words. The air around Raj crackled. His heartbeat raced. Suddenly, the carved murals on the walls shimmered, as if waking from a long sleep. Dust fell from the ceiling while faint streams of blue light seeped from the cracks between the stones. Mira stepped back, terrified yet mesmerized. "Raj, something is happening, to you." Raj tried to speak, but his voice broke. His vision blurred, replaced by flashes. A sky of 2 moons. Towering crystalline structures. Beings of pure energy communicating without sound. He gasped and collapsed to his knees. Professor Harris stumbled toward him. "These aren't hallucinations, these are memories." Raj's eyes shot open. Whose memories? The answer was already inside him. And it terrified him. A grinding noise echoed through the temple as a section of the floor slid open, revealing a spiral staircase descending deep into the earth. The team exchanged anxious glances. They had come too far to turn back. Step by step, they moved downward, guided only by the faint glow emanating from Raj's mark. The temperature dropped, and the sound of dripping water echoed through the narrow chamber. When they reached the bottom, they stood before a colossal door, smooth, metallic, and nothing like the stones above. It hummed faintly with an otherworldly resonance. Mira pressed her hand against it. "This isn't human craftsmanship." The professor shook his head. "No. This is something far older." As Raj approached the door, the mark on his arm blazed with light. The giant slabs of metal shifted and parted silently, revealing a vast circular hall. At its center floated a glowing sphere, delicate yet powerful, like a miniature star. Raj felt the room pull at him, calling him. Professor Harris whispered in awe, This might be the first sentient artifact ever discovered." The artifact pulsed softly, emitting waves of sound, not noise, but language. Mira began recording, but Raj stepped closer, entranced. The sphere brightened, projecting symbols and images into the air. One image made all three freeze, a figure identical to Raj, standing among the ancient beings. Raj felt his breath catch. Mira. Professor. I think I've been here before. The artifact stopped glowing and began playing a sequence of visions. A civilization far beyond human time, one that transcended planets. Their last hope, sending fragments of their essence into the future, hidden within carefully selected bloodlines across Earth. Professor Harris touched Raj's shoulder gently. You weren't just chosen randomly, you were born for this. Myra's eyes widened. Raj, you're a carrier. A living vault. Raj staggered back. So all this time, I wasn't just connected to the temple. I was part of its history. The artifact pulsed again, slowly, warmly, almost like a confirmation. The sphere projected its final message, a prophecy written in a language that Mira quickly recognized from earlier inscriptions. The bearer shall awaken when the earth stands at the edge of collapse. And the lost knowledge shall rise again. Myra's voice trembled. This prophecy, it's talking about now. About our time. Professor Harris inhaled sharply. They left Raj's lineage behind to guide humanity. To prepare us for something coming. Raj looked at the glowing sphere, his fear replaced with determination. Then I need to know everything. If this knowledge was meant for me, I'm ready to claim it. The temple shook, slowly at first, then violently, dust raining from the ceiling. The artifact had heard him. It began. Again. The moment Raj uttered those words, the entire chamber rumbled like a beast awakening from centuries of slumber. Stones vibrated, cracks raced across the walls, and a deep metallic groan echoed from beneath the floor. Mira grabbed Raj's arm in panic. Raj! The temple, it's destabilizing. But Raj wasn't afraid. The artifact hovered closer to him, its glow intensifying, as if shielding the trio from the chaos around them. Professor Harris struggled to stay upright, bracing himself against a pillar. This structure wasn't built to remain open, he shouted over the deafening roar. It's responding to the activation. Dust poured from the ceiling as massive chunks of stone crashed around them. Yet strangely, none of it came near Raj. The artifact seemed to form an invisible sphere around him, deflecting the debris. Myra's voice trembled. Raj, we need to leave. Now. But the artifact pulsed twice, almost like it was saying not yet. Before anyone could react, the sphere released a beam of pure white light straight into Raj's chest. He gasped as the energy surged through him, blinding, electric, ancient. Mira screamed. Raj! Raj fell to his knees, clutching his head. His veins glowed faintly beneath his skin, tracing patterns identical to the symbols carved on the walls. Professor Harris stepped closer, mesmerized. It's unlocking something inside him. Something that's been dormant for thousands of years. Raj's breathing slowed. His eyes fluttered open, glowing with the same luminescent blue as the artifact. He spoke, but the voice wasn't entirely his. It's accessing the code. My DNA carries their memory, their warnings, their designs. Mira knelt beside him, tears brimming in her eyes. Raj, come back to us. Please. His glow softened, stabilizing. I'm here, but I'm not the same anymore. I can feel their knowledge, every fragment, awakening. The artifact projected a vast star map across the chamber, showing distant galaxies and flickering symbols. Then, a particular constellation glowed bright red. Raj interpreted it instinctively. They aren't extinct. They left, but they're coming back. Mira stared at him, horrified. Coming back? For what? Raj swallowed. The knowledge flowed into him like a river bursting through a dam. They seeded Earth with their essence, not to rule it, but to preserve their legacy. And when the time came, their descendants would guide humanity through the next great shift. Professor Harris looked stunned. You mean, they trusted our planet with their future? Raj nodded slowly. And now, they're returning to reclaim the knowledge they left behind. But they won't be the same. Time, war, cosmic radiation, something changed them. The star map flickered violently, showing distorted forms, beings no longer made of pure light but twisted and darkened. Mira stepped back. Raj, are we in danger? Raj looked at her with an expression that chilled her to the bone. We all are. A thunderous crack split the ceiling. Sunlight seeped into the sacred chamber for the first time in thousands of years. As the temple walls gave way, Mira and Professor Harris helped Raj ascend the final flight of stairs. When they emerged from the ruins, the world above was already changing. Dozens of drones buzzed overhead. International research teams surrounded the site. Military vehicles lined the outer boundary. The once isolated jungle was now humming with human urgency. A commander approached them. We detected an energy surge powerful enough to trigger satellites worldwide. What did you find down there? Raj stared at the soldiers, the scientists, the flashing cameras. This isn't just a discovery, he said quietly. It's a warning. Mira looked around nervously. Raj, what are you going to tell them? He exhaled deeply. Only the truth. Night fell. Raj stood alone atop a ridge overlooking the excavation site, the artifact floating silently beside him like a loyal sentinel. The stars twinkled above, patterns he now understood as clearly as written words. Mira approached gently. You okay? Raj nodded slowly. I know what's coming. I know why I was chosen. She swallowed hard. Then tell me. Please. Raj turned to her, eyes glowing faintly in the moonlight. They aren't returning in peace, and humanity isn't ready. Myra's breath caught in her throat. Raj continued, voice steady but heavy with the weight of destiny. The temple, the artifact, the DNA, it's all been preparing me to do one thing. She stepped closer. What thing? Raj looked to the sky, the same sky where those beings once vanished. To lead us. To unite us. Because when they come, Earth will face its greatest test. The artifact pulsed softly, agreeing. And far beyond the stars, something pulsed back. 2 nights after the collapse of the temple, global observatories reported something unprecedented. A rhythmic pulse, faint but coordinated, was detected across multiple radio frequencies. Scientists called it interference. Raj knew better. He stood silently inside the temporary research base, eyes locked on the monitor as the wave pattern repeated like a cosmic heartbeat. Mira rushed in. Raj, you're seeing this, right? It's everywhere. Every satellite is picking it up. Raj nodded slowly. They've sent their first message. Professor Harris adjusted his glasses with trembling hands. But why now? Why so soon? Raj exhaled, feeling the energy in his veins resonating with the signal. Because they know the artifact has awakened. They know someone has received the knowledge. The pulse grew louder, almost musical. And now, Raj whispered, they're calling to me. That night, Raj couldn't sleep. The signal pulsed inside his mind like a second heartbeat. He stepped outside the base, away from the noise, the machines, the questions. Under the moonlight, something changed. His arm began to glow again, brighter than ever before. Lines of blue traced up to his shoulder, spreading across his chest like a network of living veins. Raj gasped as a surge of power coursed through him. Mira ran toward him, panic in her voice. Raj! What's happening to you? Raj staggered but didn't fall. It's the activation. My body is adapting to the knowledge. It's rewriting me. His eyes burst into a blinding blue for a moment. The air around him crackled. Dust lifted from the ground, floating weightlessly. Professor Harris whispered in awe, he's evolving. Raj gritted his teeth, steadying his breath. I'm becoming what they left behind, a bridge between 2 species. The glow slowly faded, leaving Raj trembling but stronger, changed. Mira held his hand. Raj, is this safe? His gaze was heavy with truth. I don't think safety is part of this anymore. The next morning, Raj was summoned. Inside a secure command tent, high-ranking military officials, scientists, and intelligence agents from multiple countries sat with grim faces. A large display showed satellite scans of the energy waves, all pointing to the same origin, deep space. A stern general stepped forward. Raj Kumar, eyewitness reports and scientific analysis indicate you are connected to this event. We need answers. Now. Mira squeezed Raj's arm in reassurance, but he stepped forward calmly. You're asking the wrong question, Raj said. It's not about what happened. It's about what's coming. A murmur spread across the room. Raj continued, these signals are not random. They are coordinates. A path. A countdown. The room fell silent. The general narrowed his eyes. A countdown to what? Raj looked steadily at him. To their arrival. Chaos erupted. Arrival? Hostile or peaceful? Do we need to prepare for war? Raj raised a hand, and the room quieted. I don't know their intentions. But I know one thing, humanity is not ready for what's approaching unless we unite. The general crossed his arms. And why should we trust you? Raj stepped closer, the faint glow returning to his skin. Because I'm the only one they will listen to. 3 days later, the sky over South America darkened unexpectedly. Birds scattered. Winds shifted. The air vibrated with an eerie hum. Raj's eyes widened. It's happening. A column of spiraling light descended from the clouds, touching the ground several miles from the excavation site. The earth trembled as the beam carved a circular crater into the jungle. Mira clutched Raj's arm. Raj, is that? He nodded. Yes. A landing beacon. The military scrambled to formation, weapons raised. Professor Harris watched in terrified awe. The light faded, leaving behind a massive metallic structure, smooth, black, and covered in ancient symbols identical to the temple's markings. A low hum echoed. A panel slid open. A silhouette stood inside, tall, semi-translucent, with shifting patterns of light pulsing beneath its skin. Not fully physical. Not entirely energy. The first ancient had returned. Raj stepped forward despite the soldiers shouting for him to stop. Mira screamed, Raj, no! The being raised its head, its glowing eyes locking directly onto Raj. Then, it spoke. Not through sound. Through Raj's mind. Bearer of the code. We have come. Raj felt the ground leave him as everything around him faded except that voice. And he finally understood. This was only the beginning. The presence of the ancient triggered global panic. News outlets across the world broadcast the footage, governments raised alert levels, and scientists debated whether the entity was friend or foe. But the real battle was happening inside Raj's mind. The ancient was testing him, sending a flood of images, equations, memories, and cosmic laws that stretched the limits of the human mind. Raj clenched his fists, struggling to stay conscious. You're trying to overwhelm me. The ancient's voice echoed within him. To lead your species, you must carry the burden we once did. Knowledge is a weapon. Raj staggered. Mira rushed to him, but the ancient raised a hand. A gentle wave of force pushed her back. Raj's entire body lit up, light bursting from his veins, his eyes, even the ground around him. Professor Harris shouted, he won't survive this. But Raj stood firm. I won't let you destroy humanity. I won't let you use me. The ancient paused. Then its voice changed, darker, heavier, colder. We do not destroy. We evolve. The ground ruptured as shockwaves spread outward. The military opened fire, but each bullet dissolved in midair like dust. Raj's voice thundered across the clearing. Stop. If you harm them, I won't help you. Silence. The ancient lowered its hand, studying Raj with something close to respect. You are stronger than expected. The earth may yet survive. Raj inhaled shakily. What do you want? The ancient stepped closer, its form shifting like smoke and light. To finish what we began. To awaken the rest of the bearers. Raj froze. The rest. There are more like me. The ancient nodded. And soon, they will awaken.